I know a lot of people are struggling right now. Unemployment is extremely low around the world. So there are opportunities, whether you want a traditional job or do something entrepreneurial. I just want to say it's never too late to have a new beginning.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, Dan Miller. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Well, I'm not sure exactly where you are, but wherever you are must be like here, because it's beautiful here.
I can well imagine. Well, I'm in Trinidad and Tobago, which is in the Caribbean. Where exactly are you?
I'm just south of Nashville, Tennessee.
It was wonderful to connect with you, Dan. A great pleasure. I did get to meet you face to face at an amazing event called Coaching with Excellence. So putting that aside, though, which of your talents do you think is responsible for us connecting?
Oh, it's really my writing. There's nothing that puts me in my happy place like writing. I think that's the most valuable thing I have to offer.
Yeah, let's dig into that. Who did you learn that from?
You know, it's interesting because I never took a journalism course, certainly never thought about this when I was in college. You know, writing with impact is not just a matter of semantics. It's not just a matter of understanding grammar and syntax and punctuation. Writing with impact means you have a message that you just can't contain. So my life experience gave me some messages that I wanted to share, but it wasn't until I was in my mid-40s that happened. So it was only then that I started doing writing for other people. Now, I'd always enjoyed writing. Even the classes in college that required writing were always my favorite, but I had never done anything with that until my mid-40s.
It's pretty fascinating how the principles that go with writing can apply to everything that you do in life in terms of applying truth and the skill at which you operate in. Would you say that's accurate?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah, it takes some life experience to really do much of anything really well. That's not to negate, what teenagers do and millennials, but golly, we ought to be getting better and better at whatever it is that we do.
I totally agree. When I was there, I saw your granddaughter, who is a writer, but we can agree as well that she's learning, if not genetically, by legacy from those around her. Would you agree with that?
Totally. She's been given some unique opportunities to explore her writing, her movie making, her art. She's been giving outlets for those at a very young age, which certainly gives her, kind of a canvas on which to experiment. But what she's doing at 12 certainly will be refined and become better as she gets older.
Now, you've been given choices. You've been the writer and you've not been the writer. Why will you continue along the path of being the writer?
Well, it really is what I truly enjoy. I mean, it's where I'm in that unique ability area, or what we call zone of genius, in the way that I feel. Now, at the same time, there's a whole lot of people out here writing. I mean, I know that, and I don't mean to just elevate myself, but, writing for a lot of people is just kind of cathartic experience. But I want to write things. I want to assimilate the wisdom of the ages from history and make it understandable for people today, and write it in ways that'll help readers discover and initiate their own greatness. So that's very strategic, very intentional. And it's just what I think I can do that has the broadest influence, rather than something I could just do with my hands, or, sell cars and a lot of other things that I would enjoy doing. But I think writing is really my responsibility, not only just something I enjoy, but my responsibility at this point.
For those that are listening, where's the best place for them to connect with you?
48 Days is certainly our brand. Anything 48 Days will connect you to us. We've got a really exciting, growing community, 48 Days Eagles, where other people who say, I've got something greater in me, I want to get out. So that's another place, but anything 48days.com.
Well, tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
One of the things I think that's important for me is my morning routine. I really believe the old saying that the first hour is the rudder of the day. I so believe that. So I get up early. I'm an early morning riser. Love the early morning. I get up and I do some yoga stretching immediately. And then I go in and sit in my favorite chair. And that's where I do my meditation, devotions, prayer. And then I hit the treadmill. Then I'm ready to jump in the shower. At that point, my wife is up. So we have a cup of tea together, and I'm ready to start the day. But at those first 2 hours, that's the most important thing that I do to protect then what the rest of the day brings.
How does it make you feel looking back from now to then and seeing the fruits that have come from that?
Yeah, it's pretty clear to kind of connect the dots backward. I see people all around me, who hit the snooze button 3 times and then jump out of bed, grab a cup of coffee, hit the car, red lights, honking horns, get to work 10 minutes late, plop down on their desk. I know what kind of day they're going to have. They've already set the tone. I've structured my life so it's not like that. I've not used an alarm clock in probably 30 years. I wake up when I'm fully rested because I go to bed when I'm tired. So just the natural sequence of my biology telling me when to get up. And then that time in the morning like that, God gives me a very restful start to the day. Of course, you've been here to my place, so you know my commute. My commute is walking the nature trail from my house back here. It's about 300 yards, and I'm here. So I don't fight traffic. I don't have any red lights. I just stroll back here. In my office, I have an ergonomic chair that I sit in. I'm very particular about. I have Baroque music playing, and this morning I have a candle going. That's pretty typical for me. I set the stage for how I'm then prepared to do my best work.
Love it. Amazing audience. Again, you're hearing it live from Dan Miller. You can't connect with him, as he said. Anything 48 days. You type 48 days, you will find Dan Miller. Dan, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water.
Oh,
Dan,
I'm there.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
I don't have a lot of real clear early childhood memories, but when I was 5 years old, there was an incident that happened with my brother that I remember. My dad had purchased a brand new car, and it was back when you put the trunk down, and it was a handle that you would turn. So you would grab it and turn it with your hands to unhook it. Well, my brother, who's 5 years older than I, so he would have been 10 years old, was proudly showing me the car, and he put the trunk down, and he couldn't get it to turn, and he got up and he stood on that handle to turn it, to get it to close. I told my dad, and my brother got in big trouble for that. For some reason, I remember that. That is one incident, and that's really the earliest that I remember at all.
That's intriguing. So, if you had to connect it metaphorically, what would you connect that to?
I don't really know. I mean, I love my brother. We've always had a great relationship. We're very, very different, but somehow it was just kind of the beginning of my understanding that he was an important person in my life.
That's intriguing. Yeah. Can I dig into it? Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created
Sure.
in my mind? Oh, I love the concept there of the different ways of applying skills. At the beginning of this conversation, we spoke about what you've done differently, choosing how to close the trunk, if you would, on certain aspects of life, or even open it, if we look at that. There's one way which is forcibly, isn't it? Like where individuals use mere strength to get things. And then there's another way of being in flow. And it's just intriguing to see the two different types of decisions and what was the result thereafter.
Yeah, neat, interesting.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
That was when Elvis Presley was becoming popular. So all of those songs, you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Love it.
and the funny thing is, those were absolutely forbidden in my home. So I had to listen to those on the sly. We were very, very strict in our religion. That was not something that we would embrace in our family at any level.
All right, my friend. Well, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. You ready, Dan?
Yes, I am.
Dan, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
I've been blessed in that, and having so many people that have come through, like people like you have come through our place here that we call the sanctuary. So there's been little bits and pieces that have been passed on to a whole lot of people. But I also have 3 children and 14 grandchildren. So I've had the opportunity to really be intentional about passing things on to them. And, I have to believe that's my biggest legacy.
Wow. Wow, well, we know that you are married, yes?
Yes,
How long have
51
you been?
years.
Wow, congratulations.
Fif-
Give us a secret.
Oh my. I think if anything, it's respect. I still, after 51 years, we walk out of our house and I have to walk around to the other side of the car, which I do to open the door for Joanne, my wife. I thank her when she fixes a wonderful dinner like she did last night. I mean, just those little courtesies and respect, I think, have kept our relationship where we don't just take it for granted and abuse the marvelous thing that it is.
Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do. I can't imagine how somebody could not.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
I do. I have a personal mastermind. These are people who I've had deep relationships with, who I've invited into this without any question. My mastermind is my inner circle. We trust each other and share life at a really deep level.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I certainly do not.
How about 3 hours a week?
No, it really doesn't come close.
Wow.
I'm so attracted to books, but I just can't find anything on TV that has enough value to trade my time for that.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Knowing that my work is communicating with people and writing, those things do require that I'm online.
Okay. Dan, it's been such a great pleasure. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Dan Miller, what would you say that is?
Well, that's really easy for me to do. I'm part of Strategic Coach, which is a coaching program where I'm being coached. I love the process. And one of the things we had to do recently was define our unique abilities. So that's pretty fresh for me. My unique ability is to read, think, and process the wisdom of the ages, and then write content that challenges and inspires readers to discover and initiate their own greatness.
That's beautiful. Dan, this has been such a great pleasure, both seeing you live at Coaching with Excellence, seeing the love that you resonate in is life transformational. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I know a lot of people are struggling right now. It seems kind of ironic because there's so many opportunities. There are really no obstacles. Unemployment is extremely low around the world. So there are opportunities, whether you want a traditional job or do something entrepreneurial. But I just want to encourage people. I've gotten so many notes recently from people in their 50s and 60s who feel like it's too late. I just want to say it's never too late to have a new beginning.
Dan Miller, thank you, my friend, for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.